Yeah, what up? So, man, yeah, man, should be base boxing basement. Remember to like. Please, come on, cause it don't cost nothing, not a thing, man. So you hit the like for real, because there's haters around that want to bring down the channel. Anyway, so the alleged big fight of the weekend, and this is some depressing stuff. The big fight of the weekend is Jack Catterall vs Harlem Eubank. Yeah, we meant to get excited about this. Now, is it Jake or Jack Catterall? I always get it wrong. Imagine that. A big name fighter, and I can't even remember his name. Why? Because he's boring. I watched him live, right? Now, he's one of the few fighters I've lost money on, because I always bet on him getting beat. And the one fight when I didn't bet on him getting beat, he got beat by some Latino guy. I can't remember his name, man. I don't sit there desperately checking out Jack Catterall's career. You know what I'm saying? He's not a bum. You know, he's got great boxing skills. He has got power. But once he hurts you, he goes back to the same thing, outboxing you, you know. And if pro boxing was so, was just full of people being careful, outboxing each other, trying to stay out of trouble, nobody would watch it, man. And that's not surprising. I'm surprised everyone watches now, man. I sometimes sit there and go, why do I bother with this sport? I could be watching lawn bowls, BKFC, all these other sports. I said that before. Anyway, so he's fighting Harlem Eubank. Now, Harlem Eubank, okay, it's a big name, Eubank, right? But that ain't his real name. He's not Chris Eubank's son. Yeah? And Chris Eubank changed his name. It should be Chris Eubanks, plural, right? I think Harlem is Simon Eubanks or Peter Eubanks' son, who's his brother. And they're both, they were strong guys, but basically journeymen, you know? I'm not going to call them bums. One of them even beat Barry McGuigan. But, Eubank's still riding off the name, but that isn't his name. It's Eubanks, plural, with the S. Because Chris Eubank changed his name. I have no idea why, out of disrespect to his own family. Why would you change your name and take off a letter? He should be Chris Eubanks, not Chris Eubank. But whatever, it's Eubank. And Harlem has decided to call himself Eubank rather than his real name, Eubanks. And he's fighting Jack Catterall. And this is the big fight of the weekend. Gee, I can't wait. I hope there's something else on TV, man. Because the idea, I will watch it maybe. Maybe I'll do it live. But the idea of sitting there, watching Harlem Eubank, Jack Catterall is not going to have me on the edge of my seat, And Harlem Eubank, I wouldn't say he's a bum, but he's not that spectacular. He's got a less than 50% KO ratio, It's got one of those, this is going to be a fight which is going to be, go the distance. And the two fighters are going to be very careful and try and outbox each other. Neither of them are going to try and knock each other out. I mean, I've got walls to paint. And maybe I'll just sit there and watch the wall. The paint on my wall. You know what I'm saying? Dry. Rather than watch Harlem Eubank and Jack Catterall. I expect Catterall to win on points. I think Jack Catterall's a level above Harlem Eubank. You know what I'm saying? Even though Eubank has not lost, I can't see. Again, I can't guarantee I'll watch it. I'll be watching paint dry. My paint dry. I'll paint my front door, and I'll sit there and go, you know what? I'm gonna sit down and watch it dry, cause otherwise, it's more interesting than watching Jack Catterall, Harlem, Eubank. But this is the big fight weekend, which is super tragic, man. I mean, it could be worse, right? It could be women's fighting. The week after, there's a bill, a Jake Paul bill in America with 6 women fights. Imagine buying tickets for that. Dog shite. You know? Watching 2 women who can't fight, who will get waxed by 13-year-old amateurs, club amateurs, novices, you know, will flail away with punches that don't hurt, and sit there and pretend you're watching world-class fighting. I don't even know who's on it, or Serrano, Taylor, all these people, Shaneka Johnson, I don't care, Chantel Cameron. I mean, wow. If you're telling me, right, would you rather watch Catterall or Eubank or any of these women's fights? I'm watching Catterall or Eubank. Well, I would rather watch paint dry. I'd rather watch my front door dry. You know? So the next 2 weeks, the next 2 weekends, I'm be watching paint dry instead of this rubbish. You know? Imagine buying a ticket to a women's boxing fight where every fight is women's boxing. You know, imagine actually paying to watch that dog shite. You know, it's probably pay-per-view too, knowing these days. You know what I'm saying? It's pathetic. Pro boxing is whack at the moment. Something got to change. Something got to change. We need some good fights because this they're losing the Triple B as a fan. I want to be based boxing basement. I'll be based lawn bowls basement or something like that, because there's got to be something better than watching this kind of rubbish.